of the unknown. What is it? Is it real? And what is it doing there?
Now they're speaking out, saying there are UFOs in U.S. airspace and they need to be taken seriously.
A family in Highland, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl.
They're unidentified in U.S. airspace.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
I'm Todd Bates. I've been investigating the paranormal for years, yet still have no definite answers. Join me on this mysterious journey as we discuss all things paranormal, right down to the little gnomes. Why do millions experience these mysterious phenomenon, yet we have no proof? Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio, where I try and gather the pieces that may one day form yet another puzzle. And a good evening, one and all. Welcome, Haunted Voices Live, right here, WLTK-DB.com. That's where you need to go. A lot of you folks are going to be watching us from there. Some of you are going to be watching us from abroad on the social media world. Wherever you are, welcome to the show. We've got a great show. Nicole's with us this week. We're back. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing great. Glad to be back. Fantastic.
Feels like it's
Good
been
stuff.
forever.
Right, I know. It doesn't it though? I mean, you had the storm last week. I know it feels like I haven't been on for like 2 months. Oh my gosh. Weird.
Yes. Yes, Wendy. Yes, gnomes as well. We do talk about gnomes all the way.
Gotta love it.
Gnomes, all that's coming as well. We're going to be getting Lon Strickler on here. I want to talk to him about those kinds of things.
Oh, he'll talk to you about gnomes, that's for sure.
That's going to be good stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting him on.
No, but how are things out west? I mean, how's the weather out there? It was a little nutty out here Midwest. I'll get to that in a moment. Let's talk about your gorgeous weather, Nicole.
You know, San Diego, you're over there being buried in snow, and we're out here sunny, 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 sunny. Can't complain. But good news, though, and I'll keep this brief because of time. So the Queen Mary in Long Beach is starting the repairs. So today, a lot of my friends were over there and they were filming. They're starting to remove the lifeboats from the ship for repair and restoration. So work is starting. So she's going to be opening most likely later this year. Yay.
That is great news. No, that's
Thought I
great news. It's about
thought
time.
I'd insert that in there, folks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I
Right?
mean, everybody's been chomping at the bits waiting for it to open
I
back up.
know. I know.
There it is. And, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. So we're all
Can't
excited.
wait to get back out there. And I
I
know
know.
Nicole and I are doing some old school tonight. She's a little under the weather with a cam. Her cam is having some kind of deep dark. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be getting our guest Brandon Wainwright on here in just a moment. So hang tight, folks, and we're gonna be talking about Tyson's gift. This is gonna be, oh my goodness. This is going to be if you are a pet owner, pet lover, pet anything, animal lover abroad, definitely tell your friends, share this with as many people as you can, because he's going to be talking about a lot of things relating to pets, folks. A lot of things that, well, we need to hear. I mean, Nicole's had him on. You've had him on your show, The Afterlife Chronicles, right, Nicole?
Yes, I did. I believe like I think it was, I forget the exact date, but a couple of months ago. Yeah. Fantastic show. One of my favorites thus far. And I've read the book. The book is amazing. So helpful for anyone that is going through the experience of having to say goodbye to their beloved animal.
Mhm.
And then much more too. The story is just incredible. So
Yeah, I want to hear this. And as far as station news, folks, there's a few things going on. Stay tuned to the updates. I'll be getting the newsletter out soon. To be sending that throughout. If you guys want to subscribe to that, you can do so. WLTK-DB.com. You just go there. You can just sign up for the newsletter there. You'll see a little pop-up come up, or you can sign up anywhere on the site for that and get the station updates and things. Also the forum and so forth. Pay attention to all that good stuff. But without further ado, Nicole, let's get in the man of the hour, Mr. Brandon Wainwright. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you. Thank you so much for taking time to come out.
Oh, thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Good to be back with you, Nicole. I'm not the man,
Absolutely.
though. It's not me. It's Tyson. Tyson's the man.
Yeah,
I love that you say that. I love that.
I want to hear this story. I want the audience to hear this story about you and Tyson. Let's just jump right into it, Brandon. Let's get right into it. How'd you guys meet? What happened?
Well, Tyson, he came. My wife and I at the time we were just before we got engaged. She had a friend at work that had two dogs, Tyson being one of them, and the newer of the two. And she moved into a rental property where she was only allowed one pet, and so she had to let one of them go, and she chose to let Tyson go because he was the newcomer, and she was less attached to him. I presume. And my wife, Misha, she on a number of occasions, her friend Lucy she called her Mama Lucy because she was Tyson's first mama. She would bring her to work or bring Tyson to work on bring your dog to work day, and Misha just loved him and fell in love with him immediately, and so she immediately thought of of her for a potential new person for Tyson, and Misha was all over it, and so that's how he came into my life because he, little 8-pound Chihuahua Dachshund mix. I hadn't had a dog at that point since I was a kid, and I had a lot of different kind of bad experiences with animals as a child. Not like traumas in terms of getting bit or something like that, but just animals being taken away from me that were really traumatic. So I hadn't really considered having a pet of my own. But and the other thing too is I was a typical bachelor, not home much, and
Sure.
I hadn't been in a situation yet where having a dog was really seemed appropriate. But she got him, and boy, was he a pistol, let me tell you. He's like the cutest dog, the perfect mix of Dachshund and Chihuahua, big multicolored eyes, just beautiful dog. But from the time I met him, he was just snarling at me and just didn't want to have anything to do with me, really standoffish. Why, did you ask?
No, I said, wow.
Yeah, I mean, which was unusual for me. I was always a dog person. Dogs generally took to me really quickly. I had at that time I was a bottled water delivery guy, and so I had lots of dogs on my routes, and I had good relationships with all of them. And so it took me aback, that's for sure. What the heck's your problem, boy? But with my wife, he was a perfect gentleman. He was in love with her from the start. So it was kind of it was a weird situation. The other thing is, my wife and I were just getting through a kind of a rough patch in our relationship where, fortunately for us, we worked through our most difficult time before we even got married. And so we were kind of coming out of that at that point. And so, him coming in, it was like, okay, I'm working things out with Misha, and which is great. And then I had this, which I should say, part of that was, my heart was open because I was opening my heart to her. And then he comes into the picture, and he's just this pistol the only way I'm going to win him over and gain his trust and is to open my heart to him. So, which is what I did. And I kind of had an immediate respect for him, and wanted his acceptance, wanted to grow close to him. And there was kind of an innate connection there that I believe is from previous lives, and
Yes.
and we have a very close soul connection. Yeah. We always did from the start, even when he wasn't having it. And I felt this pull to win him over, and it just, he healed my heart by motivating me to open my heart. I guess that's a good way to put it.
That's a really good way to put that.
I don't think I've ever said it quite like that before. But yeah.
Hold on to that, because that's a great way to put that.
Yeah. So, the book details all this stuff, the really about how it all went down. But basically, yeah, he came into our lives unexpectedly, just start, was a great healer, even with his hard boiled way. The thing is, once he was hard boiled with me, not with my wife, but once you were in his inner circle, the rich love, the depth of that soul was something that
Infinite.
was infinite. Yeah, he helped my soul to grow and heal so much just by being with him, and it carried through his whole life. It was a life of memories, wonderful antics. He was a very unusual dog, big personality. So lots of crazy memories, but more than anything, lots of love and connection. And he was really, I should say, is a very special soul.
That's so beautiful, and it's one of those things where when you have an animal and you have that sort of innate connection, it's not really something you can analyze or necessarily explain, but it's
Mm-mm.
something to be experienced. Because
Yeah,
I too have I should say have, but have that with my Kaylee who passed away in December. So
I read your
oh,
dedication. Yeah, it was
oh,
awesome.
oh, thank you so much. I
It,
had
it,
to do it, but
it
yeah,
was it
thank
was
you.
emotional. It was a very moving read. I'll tell you that. I really,
Oh, thank you
you
so
know,
much. You and Tyson both had some inspiration in that, so
yeah. I could see the parallels for sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
It is. It's wonderful how the bond between an animal and a human being, and what it can spark, the infinite, unreal capabilities of the afterlife, the spirit world, and so on.
Mhm.
It's something that I don't know. Some people they scoff at pets, their burdens, their this and that. But to me, an animal, even if it's something as small as a fish, something like a fish, it's a responsibility. It's a bond. It's something you build, and it's something that I think has a soul, just like a human being. To me, like our dogs, Sherry and I have two very large dogs. Love these animals to all get out. One of them's a service animal, a retired service animal, beautiful animals, and I couldn't picture a day without them. I pretty much adopted them, came into her life and adopted them, and it's a bond that. It's something you carry. And you mentioned earlier, Brandon, about a past life. As something funny is see what you guys think about this as well. There was an animal that I had that had to be put down. That was maybe 7 years ago. Um, but when I came into Sherry's life, the animals were brought into my life. Of course, one of them is a Staffordshire.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
And just like it's a spitting image, almost identical, and my daughter would agree. She recently saw it finally. It's an identical animal almost to him,
Hmm.
and it's almost and she recognized that as well, that bond where a past life, maybe I'm getting a second chance because I wasn't around when he was put down. I wasn't around during his final years. So maybe something of that nature. I wasn't there. I was in Florida, actually, far away. So wasn't able to go through that.
When was he born? The new version.
The
Your Sherry's dog.
Sherry's dog, when he's probably 4 or 5 years old.
So he was born after your other dog
Yeah,
passed. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That could be like a
Does
reincarnation
it
sort of.
feel to you like that? Like, do you feel like it could be the same soul?
In a way, yeah. In a way, but I know that's her dog, but it's
Yeah.
strange 'cause
I mean, her, define her,
it's
and
true.
she came to her, but does that, because for example, Tyson, one of the things that was said in one of the, the readings that I did early on, was that Tyson said that he came to Misha to get to me. And I was kind of like, whoa, that's, on the one hand, it was really flattering and very a loving thing to say, but at the same time, I was like, he loved Misha every bit as much as he loved me. That doesn't sound right. And the commentary was, oh no, absolutely. But in terms of life mission, Tyson's mission was to help heal hearts, specifically mine. And, so just because he came to her first doesn't necessarily mean that, a big part of his mission here, right, in this lifetime isn't to get to you and to help you.
This is where the synchronicity plays into effect here.
Yeah.
There you go. The synchronicity, a shared soul, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if your gut's telling you that it's him,
Bingo.
I wouldn't necessarily question that because, I've experienced it myself. So
it was instantaneous from the moment I saw the animal. I mean, saw the beautiful beast.
Yeah, Brandon, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. And it's almost, you described with Tyson at the beginning that he kind of, like snarled at you. I'm wondering if he did that almost not on purpose, but he didn't mean to do that, but he was doing that as part of his lesson to get you to open your heart, maybe.
Well, and that's exactly that what I was, as the book documents my spiritual journey after he passed away, and coming to terms with his death and life after death it was all these lessons that I couldn't have never predicted. But one of the things that I learned from him in that process was that he had to be the hard ass that he was in order to get me to open my heart and fall in love with him.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I mean, like you said, though, he was doing what was his instinct and what felt right to him in that lifetime. But, we all have, soul contracts and
exactly.
There's a much bigger picture than what we're aware of in this plane. And so, I firmly believe, because that's exactly how it played out. I mean, that was exactly how it played out. I probably never would have fallen in love with him to the degree that I did if I didn't have to basically fillet my heart open in order to, because that when you open your heart that way, it makes you love on a much richer level. It's much more vulnerable. You're opening yourself up to hurt and possibly, but it also the payoff is incredible. And the connection that we ended up having because of that was pretty amazing. And so, yeah.
Tyson'sGift.com is your website, and it's amazing. Like I said, I've read the book, just very heartfelt and so much insight and wisdom in there. So I encourage all of our listeners to read this book. It's absolutely amazing. And it's written from the heart. It's written from the soul, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the only way I knew to do it. Just tell the story and be as honest as you can. And when you're being motivated by love, then it kind of it's easier for you to kind of come out of your shell and let it hang out.
Yeah, all falls into place.
Yeah.
Yeah, love is a great motivator. It's definitely one to motivate. We're going to take a short break here when we come back, and I'm going to get rid of that little hacker there real quick.
I saw that. Yeah, just popping in right there. Hello.
Yeah, I'm getting used to this whole video thing still, folks. With these, they are what they are. But don't worry. There's one thing that we do know how to do, and that's play ads. So you guys hang tight. More Haunted Voices on the way. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Looking to launch your new masterpiece? Then try something new with Moonbow Publishing and Production. At Moonbow, we have a strong desire to serve authors in a powerful and meaningful way. After all, you poured your heart and soul into your writing, and we fully understand and respect that. Remember this: you will own the copyright to your work. You will have the final say on your work before being published. Even after all of that, we've saved the best for last. We won't take a percentage sold. Nope, not a penny. Excited about MoonbowPublications.com yet? We thought so. Take advantage of our company's services like book editing, formatting, and covers, publishing, and photography. Moonbow Publishing and Productions has everything you are looking for in a company. Remember, we will not keep any commissions. We are a boutique publishing company focusing on spiritual, health and wellness, and personal growth genres. Moonbow Publications and Productions, a new kind of publishing company.
Bottom of the hour. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Haunted Voices live right here, WLTK-DB.com. Get over there, check out the website. Our guest this evening, of course, Mr. Brandon Wainwright. We're talking about his book, Tyson's Gift, tysonsgift.com. Check out the website over there, all the information. And we're the beginning of the show, if you guys missed it, everything's being archived, of course. We'll get this out to you here in about 30 minutes after the live broadcast, or it may take up to 24 hours. You just hang tight, but that'll go to all social media outlets first. It'll pop off there to Facebook and YouTube, and then it goes to all your Apples and Google Play and all that fun stuff. Now, before the break, we were talking about the relationship between him and Tyson, some of the spiritual gifts and things, and we were just talking about bonding and how humans and animals bond and things, and I just find that just fascinating how close a human being can come with an animal or another human being for that matter, if it's open enough, if both parties are open enough to it. But dogs and pets and cats and things, their love is unconditional. It really is. It's just an unconditional love. Now, go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, I was going to say, people sometimes say, "Oh, well, I don't know if humans and animals can necessarily belong to the same soul group." I disagree with that. I think absolutely you can have humans and animals belong to the same soul group. I mean, I believe that with my cats, Kaylee and Max, 150%. So I get that, belonging to that same soul group. You have those soul contracts. You've had those past lives together. Then you come into the present earthly life, and then you go on too in future lives. So.
That's how I feel about it too. It doesn't, some people believe that animals have a lower level soul.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that. They may have a lower cognition in this lifetime, with what they have to work with physically, but that doesn't mean that their soul is at a lower level.
Exactly.
That's the richness of their soul, the connection, what they're able to actually contribute to the world isn't lesser. It's just different. And
it's different. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think what you said about being open is key. With like you said, with animals, they're generally speaking, their love is unconditional. Although I got to tell you, Tyson, I think the love was unconditional, but whether he was going to let you get close to him or not, definitely was conditional.
I love that. I love it.
But it's one of those relationships where you're, it's not like, I mean, if you think about the relationships that you have with your closest humans, where there's a trust level that's unquestionable. Like I've got that kind of a relationship with, honestly, I can count on probably less than, I mean, it's one hand at the most of friends, connections that I have in my life, that where I just trust them completely through and through, no questions asked,
Right.
Not that I don't trust other friends beyond them, but I have questions.
Yeah.
It's, the guard
Yeah.
isn't down completely, but with a beloved pet, it's once you bond with them, that level of trust and love is there. There are no ulterior motives coming from them, which I believe allows the human to drop their guard completely and allow the love to just to flow out of them. And that is part of what's so enriching about having a relationship with a pet. And it's a safe space to let your love pour out and to receive that same level of love. And that's why it's so special. That's why they're so important. That's why they're so good for the world, is that they cultivate healing, and they provide just a relationship with their human that allows their human to be the best human they can be.
That is just so well said. Wow.
Very well said.
I
So,
couldn't have said that better. Wow. And it's so true too when you stop and think about it. But
yeah.
Well,
again,
they
it's to be
so much.
experienced.
Pets, they keep it simple.
Hmm.
They keep it so simple. The smallest things will entertain them. The smallest things will satisfy them for supper. They can eat the same thing every day in, day out. They don't complain.
Yeah, I
They
think
still love
about
and
that
like it.
sometimes. It's amazing.
I
Yeah,
know. Me too. I'm
that
like,
in itself.
To eat, sleep, play, poop, love.
and
What more do you want?
do it all over again, day after day, right?
That's
Yeah,
what it's all about.
yeah.
That's what I love about it. And also there's a few other things here. Now you're a police officer. You practice your Reiki practitioner as well, aren't you, Brandon?
Yeah, well, I actually just left the police force because I was telling you before the show, we moved from Northern California to Northern Florida.
Hmm.
And there was different reasons for that, but I basically was put in a kind of a tough situation. I had to make a decision whether I was going to stay in, and I chose to leave. And nothing like bad happened where I was given like an ultimatum because I did something bad at work. Nothing like that.
Right.
But just other things played out, and so I'm only 48, but I basically I'm retired at this point, at least from full law enforcement. But yes, I am a Reiki practitioner, and I love it. And my plan is to grow in the healing arts as much as I can, and try to make as much of a positive difference in other people's lives as I can.
There's so many benefits to Reiki.
I love
Oh yeah, Reiki's awesome. I mean,
now remotely. Are you do you find you can do it just as well remotely, Brandon, on someone
yes,
than you could in person?
yes. So Reiki, I know, for the members of your audience, I assume that most of your audience members are probably pretty open to these concepts, but when you hear the idea of doing energy healing from a distance, it's a little bit, it kind of throws your brain for a bit of a loop. But what you have to realize is that when you're doing your spiritual healing or energy healing, that healing energy is not coming from this physical plane. It's coming from spirit. And so when you direct that energy towards another soul, it's not governed by geographic location or physical constraints.
Mhm.
So
That's true.
and so Reiki is, like, for example, and I have to admit that I wasn't really skeptical of Reiki when I first learned it. I was really curious to see if I was going to be able to do it, which, by the way, it was a goofy thing to wonder, because the reality is everybody can do it. I just,
Exactly. Yeah.
it doesn't take I mean, maybe some people have a stronger aptitude for it than others just based on where they're at in life. But the reality is that that anybody can do it. You just have to have the desire to help people. So, I learned the hands-on Reiki first, and then the next level of being able to send it through time and space. I was definitely open to it because I had experienced some pretty amazing things with the physical level. But it hadn't proven itself to me. And I had some amazing healings that were from a distance. I said the one that I loved the most, just before I got the attunement, well, about 2 weeks before I got the attunement for the distance Reiki, I found out that my buddy, childhood, one of my best friends from childhood, his stepdaughter had chronic migraines, and he hadn't told me about it. He was in Ohio, I was in California. And she so bad to the point where she was dropping out of college. She was missing so much class just because they were daily debilitating migraines. And so I said, hey, I'm doing this Reiki thing. I don't know if you've heard of it or believe in it or not, but could you ask her if it's okay if I start sending it to her once I get this attunement? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll ask her. And so he asked her, and her response was, "Oh yeah, that's so sweet." Like it was like a nice idea, and gesture, but she didn't really put a lot of weight on it. And so as soon as I got the attunement, I started sending it to her, and I sent it. I was practicing every single day. I'd get home from work and I'd spend an hour or two sending Reiki every single day, and so I was sending to her for probably about a half hour a day. And 2 weeks later, I get a call from him, and I said, "So, any results?" And he said, "Dude," he says, "I kid you not. Ever since the first time you started sending it, because I let him know I was gonna start, but I didn't say I didn't give him the exact time. I just said I'll be starting in a couple of weeks." And he said, they stopped. They just stopped.
That's amazing.
She had one 10-minute migraine. That was it. They haven't come back since to this day,
Unbelievable.
as far as I know. Yeah. And the only difference was the Reiki. She had tried, diet, exercise, and going to the doctor and trying different things, and nothing had made a difference. And so that was the only change, was the Reiki. And
That is phenomenal.
a skeptic might say, oh, that was just a coincidence, but I mean, I don't believe that. I don't think she believes that.
Yeah, I don't buy that either, because I've heard of other people that have had health issues or chronic pain syndromes, and energy healing can be beneficial, and it I don't know if this is something that scientifically can be proven, but it seems to like affect the energy pathways, or maybe it somehow affects how the nerves function in some
Mhm.
weird way to like change the nerve pathways or the pain receptors or something like that.
And it kind of depends on the best definition I've heard of for Reiki is spiritually guided life force energy. And
Yes,
so
yes.
what that means, though, is that it's going to heal you or bring as much enrichment to you as is in your soul's best interest, in your soul's highest good. So, for example, if in that situation she had something to do with the lesson she's learning in this lifetime, if it would have impeded those lessons by healing her of those migraines, the Reiki wouldn't have healed her the way it did. So sometimes, I mean, I've had some amazing things happen with Reiki, but it's not 100%, just like medicine isn't, right?
Right, right.
And you ask yourself sometimes, well, why? What, I'm doing the same thing. I can feel the energy flowing. What's the deal? But that's where the ego comes in. It's not, and you realize that you have to realize that it's not the practitioner that's doing the healing. They're simply the conduit, and you got to get out of the way and let the Reiki do what it's going to do. And when you accept that, then you can see, well, you're helping this person to trying to do what's in their highest good, whatever that may be. And, and generally, I mean, it's going to do good no matter what. Maybe it may not necessarily physically heal them of whatever they're dealing with, but it is going to help them on a, it may be on an intangible level, but it is going to help them. But like, for example, so like my wife, she's recently gone through the change. She doesn't seem to be anymore at this point. I guess I could safely say that. She had hot flashes there for a while. And it actually was when I first started doing Reiki, is when they had kind of set in, and if she got one, she would tell me, I can feel one coming on. I can feel one coming on. And I would put my hand out. She'd grab my hand. I would send Reiki, or I would channel Reiki into her, and they would die before they even got started. And that was like 50 times probably.
Wow.
Oh, that's a really substantial number right there.
Yeah. And there was only one time where it was like she really struggled with, like, it went on for a couple of minutes, but that was like the worst. And she said, man, that was a bad one. But it's so pretty, it's pretty remarkable. The other thing that I've found, and I don't know if it's unique to me or not, but headaches, it's incredible for headaches. I think particularly headaches that are stress related, emotional related, that sort of thing, or even muscle tension related. It just seems to heal them immediately. It doesn't help, when you get those headaches that are from nutritional deficiencies.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have enough protein or whatever. I found that it's not as effective with that.
No.
But with the stress and the muscle tension, it's off the hook. And I think that's because it's such a healing for such a positive energy that a lot of times that type of muscle tension and stress is all, it's energy, and it's not always positive energy, so it kind of, it dissipates that sort of negative energy and helps you to dissipate the headache. I mean, I would say 90% of the time, if someone's got a headache, I can heal them immediately.
Well, that's good to know. I'll be calling you. I'll be
Yeah.
I'm
Do
just
it.
kidding.
No, do it. I don't mind. And my wife, she would. She's been working remote for quite a while, but when she was in the office, she would call me on the phone and ask me to send her Reiki, and the headache would go away immediately.
Do you think there's more, in your opinion, is there more of a benefit to doing remote as opposed to on-site, or does it really matter, in your opinion?
I think it depends on the preference, really. I don't think
Yeah.
it's any different. I think that what it can accomplish for you, I don't really think there's any difference. It depends on the person. Like, I'm one of those people, unfortunately, where I have a hard time perceiving it when somebody else is sending it to me, which is kind of ironic because I can really perceive it when I'm sending it to somebody else. So obviously for me, the physical touch is going to probably be a more, more visceral experience.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
But it's not necessarily going to be more effective. I've had just as profound healings happen distance as I have in person, if not more, actually, because one of the nice things about distance is it's so convenient,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
The person really doesn't even have to be aware at that moment that you're sending to them. Like with my friend's daughter, she wasn't aware of any of the times when I sent it to her. She just knew that I would send it to her on occasion, and the results were happening, but other people can really pick up on it. I've got classmates from some of the Reiki classes that I've taken that when we send to each other, and some of them can really pick up on the energy.
I know when I've had it sent to me from others, it's almost, for me, speaking personally here, it's almost a very comfortable, warm sensation that kind of
Absolutely.
floods you, and you just it's a energy shift where you go from kind of buzzing from the typical day of energy to a sense of calm, and then I just feel this very light warmth, and it's awesome, and I know exactly when it's happening.
Yeah.
It is.
So,
It's
yeah.
an amazing feeling having that. And it is. It's a welcoming warmth For sure. And Casey has a question here for you, Brandon. She's asking, can it help with stress?
Oh, absolutely. I would say of all the things it can help you with, stress is probably one of the number one things. Yeah. Um,
Totally makes sense.
yeah, it's a, I mean, I want for me, I give myself Reiki pretty much every day. When I meditate, I simultaneously give myself Reiki, and it always makes me feel I'm so decompressed when I'm done. I mean, meditation's awesome anyway, but I I make an effort to channel the Reiki through my hands into my. I usually sit with my hands on my knees,
Mhm.
and I can feel it flowing into my legs, and yeah, it's a very calming sensation, and it's always a de-stressor. So yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things too, for people, if you have a desire to learn Reiki, to pass it on to others is awesome, but it's also something you can give it to yourself, so it's there's no there's no downside to learning Reiki. So for Casey, for stress, it if you have the inclination to learn Reiki, it's definitely something that you can help yourself with as well as others.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What
it
about
is.
animals now? I know we talked about this on the Afterlife Chronicles, but I mean, I mean, obviously, it would help with animals as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There Reiki. There's more and more classes on Reiki for animals, but the reality is that it's the same energy. It's
Right,
just a matter.
exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
matter. There's classes that will be more specific to how to work with animals and that sort of thing. But yeah, animals are very receptive to it. Um, Animals are generally speaking more intuitive than humans are, because they don't have all the hang-ups and
The
um,
ego
Closed
and
the
mindedness.
yeah, there's no one's told them that this isn't real,
Right.
so they pick up on this stuff. And I've had some pretty profound experiences giving Reiki to animals too. um, and a number of them. And actually, that's something that I eventually will do. And I'm not doing it right now, but I have every intention of doing it. I will is volunteer to give Reiki to animals,
oh,
like shelters and things
Yes.
like that,
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
because it makes a big difference to them. And I'll give you an example from there's an example in the book, but I actually took a class a few months ago, an animal Reiki class, and our lab, if you will, was at a husky rescue. And
Oh,
it was at a lady's house she had a big old house, and she had like 15 huskies at her house. And our whole class, we all came in to the dining area, which was gigantic. And they they let sudden all these huskies come running into the room, and we're all just kind of sitting there. And and huskies don't generally bark. They'll howl and talk and stuff, but they're so it was really funny watching them. They're running all over the place, and they would just kind of come up to you, and they're very high strung, so they're running all over the place, and come up to you, give them a little Reiki, and within a few minutes they were all just laying on the ground, just like they had just eaten Thanksgiving dinner. They
that's what I
were
was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It was a neat experience, but I've had other ones too, where like physical healings
Yeah.
with dogs, um, and so it definitely is very real for animals. The only hard part with animals is that they don't like to sit still. So, and in that case, that's one of the things that distance Reiki is really handy for animals, because you can just send it to them. But I'll give you like our dog Pepper. Um, she's been a little weirded out the last couple of days, because our floors have been torn out, and there's been strangers in the house that's strange already to them. They're not even really settled in here yet, and and she's been a little out of sorts. So she sleeps. She always ends up falling asleep between my wife and I. So I'll oftentimes wake up in the middle of the night, and I'll give her Reiki while I'm laying there sleeping, or as I go back to sleep, I'll give her Reiki, and it calms her.
Yeah.
And it definitely does. I mean, I can feel it buzzing indoor.
That's a good
Um,
point. Like, do it when they're apply it when they're sleeping. That makes sense.
yeah, when they're willing to lay there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But distance Reiki is pretty awesome too. And actually, that it hasn't, when I've worked on dogs, it doesn't really take that much. I mean, if they are in need, it just like pours into them.
Yeah, they're just
And
like sponges, aren't they? If
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like we're like 2-3 minutes, and
Mhm.
and there's a huge difference. So
That's interesting because there's the parallel with meditation. A lot of people think, oh, you have to meditate for, an hour in order for it to be effective, and that's not the case. You can
no,
meditate for a minute and have it be effective.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what an amazing show, Brandon. My goodness, the time flies by.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely,
I'm having fun too.
definitely gonna have you back here again. I mean, there's so much left to talk about and everything. But real quick before we go, I want you to tell us about Tyson's Gift, where folks can get it. Um, Tell us all about it. The mic sure is my friend.
Okay. Well, the easiest way to get it is just go to tysonsgift.com, TYSONSGIFT.com. There's a button on the front page there where it'll take you to the Amazon page where you can purchase it. And if you want to read about it, if you want to contact me, people email me sometimes, and I always respond. So if you want to do that, you can. Um, if Amazon isn't your thing, there you can get it at barnesandnoble.com as well. And independent bookstores, if you go in and tell them you'd like to order it, they can order it for you. It's just not, they don't stock it. It's not one of those books that's got a wide distribution, at least not yet. I would love it if somehow it did end up getting out there to the masses, because I really do want it to help people. But I think the easiest way is just tysonsgift.com.
It's a really great website, beautiful website. Do you think you're going to write maybe a second book at all, or is that
Uh,
kind of
for
off?
sure.
Yeah,
No,
I
yeah,
figured as much.
yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
it's definitely it'll be Tyson's Gift Book 2 with the little pepper.
Love it.
That's
Can't wait.
that's the title already. But it's one of those things where I'm living it, and I'm collecting the different experiences to describe, and kind of letting
That's
it unfold. I'm
that's
not gonna.
fantastic.
I
Oh,
don't want to just write something to write another book.
Right,
I want it
exactly.
to
It
be,
has
I want it
to.
to be at least, you know, close to as poignant as the first one. Hopefully,
Oh, it will, absolutely, and the message is I mean, it's so palpable what you talk about because I've read the book. The message in there, the experiences, and what's imparted is so palpable to so many people. I mean, you should even consider, presenting and doing, lectures at
good
libraries and things
idea.
like that,
That's a good
because I
idea.
yeah.
think that would really be beneficial as well.
Actually, I saw when I read your devotion to Max and Kaylee. It's the animals in the afterlife, when you're talking about doing speaking. I was going to tell you that I would love to do that with you.
Oh,
Um,
you know what? We should talk for sure because there's such a good message for sure
And if
about
I,
that.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because just for your listeners, the book, I wrote the book. It's kind of got that Marley and Me feel to it as far as the
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
But at least the first half of it until he transitions. But the purpose of it was to entertain. That was part of it, because I think Tyson was a pretty unique character. But also, just more importantly, really is to help people that might be going through the loss of a beloved pet, or even human. It's not species specific. It's about you know the fact that we live on, that life is
yeah.
eternal, that we're souls having an earthly experience. And I try to tell my story in a way that's just the average Joe, having these experiences, and I know it through and through. It is so that maybe, give other people peace, and to encourage them to find that truth on in their own terms. You know what I mean? Because you can read about it and be be swayed, be compelled by it, but until you internalize it and have your own experiences, it doesn't have the same weight. And
Absolutely.
But my hope is that the book will be compelling enough to people to where they go on that search themselves, or maybe it validates some of their own feelings and experiences that they've had on their own.
It makes you think, that's for sure, and it makes you, like, get really in touch with your emotions, so that's a successful book right there, in my opinion.
As did your devotion too.
Oh,
I,
that's sweet of
I,
you.
no, it did. It was very good.
I
That
love
means a lot.
conversations between two writers.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Oh, both of you guys are awesome, though. And Brandon, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule to come on here with us tonight.
Oh no, my pleasure, and thanks for having me.
We're
I
gonna
love it.
back.
Anytime.
Yeah,
All you gotta do is
we'll
ask.
schedule.
There's so
Well,
many things left to talk about, and so many things left to come. Yeah, definitely going to have you back, my friend. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it.
nice talking with you again, Brandon.
You too,
And
Nicole.
good luck with the move, too.
Thanks. Yeah, it's coming together. It's coming. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just one of those processes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Enjoy Florida.
Will do. Thank you.
All
Enjoy the Midwest.
Yes. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Good night.
And my goodness, Brandon Wainwright. That was just really, really good stuff, Nicole.
A lot of good stuff
made-
there. A lot.
Go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
It made me think, and it just makes you want to grab your fur kids, as Wendy called them earlier, your fur kids.
They are. It's true.
And it makes you just makes you want to grab them and hold them extra tight tonight.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Because you never know.
You never know,
You
right?
never know. Now,
And it's
speaking of knowing, what do you have coming up this Thursday before I get into what Pete's got coming up here next?
oh yeah, real quick. So this Thursday, so I'm having Linda Myers on and Mary Bethune. So the three of us are going to have a roundtable about paranormal investigation. Not sure exactly what topics yet. We'll get there, but of course it's going to be about the paranormal. The spiritual realm, afterlife. You got it. So that's what's going on Thursday. Good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. I love roundtables. And of course, you guys stay tuned. 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Pete Orbea, Paranormal Pete, is coming at you with guest Karen Frazier is going to be joining him this evening. Author, medium, I believe. She's going to be joining him.
Yes, I know Karen. She's great. That's going to be a good show.
That's going to be a great show. So stay tuned for that. You can find that right there on the website, WLTK-DB.com, or you can find it on social media under WLTK-DB. Just search that. We'll pop up. You'll see it. So from all of us here in, it looks like audio land this evening, Nicole.
Audio land it is. Weird too. Sorry. I was starting to yawn there. It's weird because I'm normally so used to video. It's bizarre, but
It's a nice
all
little
good.
change.
It is. Yeah.
Nice little throwback. So hopefully everybody had a great time tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, though, very much. And be sure to tune in. Paranormal Pete coming up 11 Eastern, 10 Central, right here, WLTK-DB. Take care, folks.
Good night, guys.